Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Short intro because we got a lot to do. We are doing so many things tonight. The 75mm Walksnail Freestyle rig is going to get run on the 1608 triblades, 1609 quad blades, the old school 35 pitch quad blades. Why do I have... Yeah, there they are. The old school 35 pitch tri-blades. And then we're going to motor swap it. And we're going to try it on the 0802 27,000 kV motors on a Meteor 75 Pro frame with the 45mm bigger propellers. And also on the 1002 23,500 kV motors with the big bi-blades, the big 45mm bi-blades. And we're going to try it, we're going to fly it on 0603 30,000 kV motors with the 40mm 1610 bi-blades, as well as... We're not going to have time to do all this, but it's good to dream sometimes, right? 0802 30,000 kV motors with the same bi-blades, 1610 bi-blades, to kind of definitively dive into how on earth we get enough power for this to be like a proper... the best performing freestyle 75mm Walksnail setup. I'm most excited to try the Meteor 75 Pro frame with the bigger propellers. Mainly because I think that this will be a good match for these 802 27,000 kV motors, which are currently, in production. You can just, well, they're out of stock at the moment, but Jesse has more on the way, I'm sure. And they've got the 1.5mm motor shaft. If we do this testing and the 603 30,000s or the 802 30,000s run really well, you better believe I'm going to be bugging the shit out of Jesse to see if a run of 1.5mm motor shaft 603 or 802 30,000 kV motors can be made. Unfortunately, we're doing all of this right on top of Chinese New Year. So if that is where we land, there's going to be like minimum month and a half, 2 months before like we get anything in. But let's get the request in as soon as we possibly can. I'm really frustrated with the performance of this on the current setup, so I just said, you know what, to hell with it. Let's just try absolutely everything, no stone unturned. And yeah, I've tested some of this stuff in the past, but it'll be cool to have it all get tested on one stream. We're gonna have to kind of like batch the testing out. Like, I'm gonna fly it, I'm gonna get caught up on chat. Do me a favor, hold off on tagging me in chat unless it's like a burning or really good question, because I want to try to get all of this in tonight, and it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of propeller swapping, a lot of frame swapping, but I would love to have one big stream where all of this stuff lives. I've only got 4 of these folded cell 450 mAh batteries, so I'm going to fly a battery as soon as I get caught up on chat with the current setup, which is 1002s and the new GemFan 1608 tri-blades. And then we're going to swap over to the quad blades, the 1609 quad blades. We're going to swap over to the 1635 quad blades. And then we're going to swap to the 1635 tri-blades. And that'll be these 4 batteries burned. I'll get them onto the Whoopster at 0.9 amps. get them charged back up while we take this thing out. We're going to pull the center section out of this frame and put it into... We're going to put it into this frame with the 0603 30,000s. These are the fresh ones. I think these are the fresh ones that... doesn't really matter. That Jesse sent me. This is a prototype motor. And then I'm going to take the motors off of this frame. These 1002s are going to come off of this frame. They're going to go onto another Meteor 75 Pro frame that you're going to get to see. We got to do mailbag too. We're going to do that early. And then this frame is going to get these 802s bolted onto it, but I actually need to solder different battery leads onto these 802s, so you'll get to see me do some soldering. And then, yeah, those motors will go onto this Mobula 7 V4 frame. The 1002s, like I said, will go onto another one of these big frames. They'll get paired up with... there's another set of these 45mm bi-blades floating around here somewhere. Where the hell are they? Oh, I know where they are. And, yeah, we'll have it all. If we have some extra time, which we won't, I'm going to be frame swapping the 65mm Freestyle build into a Newbie Drone Cockroach V3 frame, a black one that I just got. Kind of just spoiled a part of mailbag, but hey, it's fine. And then we might also fly these three 65mm rigs. I've got a 0702. These are Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops, the classic kind of formula, Mobula 6, ELRS, BT 2.0, frame swap. All three of these are now on my favorite of the new lightweight frames, which is the Newbie Drone Cockroach V3, Cockroach 65 V3. So they're all in the same frame now. We've got bi-blades with 0702 36,000s. We've got the HQ ultralight YOLO tri-blades on 0603 30,000s. And then we've got those same HQ ultralight YOLO props on 0702 32,000 kV motors. So all kinds of really, really cool comparisons are brewing here to just further kind of dial these things in and have you guys be able to see exactly what each one of these combos flies like, so that you can choose the one that's the perfect match for your space, your flying style, your taste, all that good stuff. Cool? Makes sense? Hey, I have recently realized I have a whole bunch of these really cool Micro King, Burger King-esque bags. They've got a cool spot up here where you can kind of write on, a couple of dashed lines and whatnot. Shout out to CMYK for doing the design. He just killed it. So cool. I have a whole bunch of these bags, and I've recently realized that they're really good for holding props. You can put like... I think this is 5 full sets of 5-inch props in here, and there's still room for more. The material is like this cool Tyvek stuff, and it's pretty tough. So yeah, these make really cool prop bags. So I'm gonna start selling these. $5 for each one of these guys. You're probably only gonna buy one or two, so the $5 is gonna cover the shipping basically. Hopefully you buy two so that I can actually make a couple dollars off them. But yeah, message me if you want to get a couple of these as propeller bags. You can use them for whatever you want, but they're a really good size for a propeller bag, right? Like, when you go out to fly, you want to have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of propellers with you so that you can just crash super hard and not really worry about it. And it struck me recently that these are kind of the perfect size for that. So message me if you want to snag some of these. Or, to be honest, you can just PayPal me $5 or $10 or $15 and say, yo, I want the Micro King bags. Here's my address. Away we go. CiottiFPV.com has a million ways that you can support me. I do rely on your support. I don't have any companies sponsoring me or anything like that with any sort of financial stuff. So, yeah, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Check it out. There's a million different things going on. Patreon, affiliate links. There's a PayPal link if you want to support me directly. Yeah, I've got the chat on the other monitor, because I realized that if I look this way at the chat, it's almost like for you guys, I'm looking at on YouTube, the chat's over here. So it kind of makes more sense for me to go like this. I realized that with sim racing streamers, all the sim racing streamers, if they put their face cam, wherever they put their face cam, they set it up so that they're looking towards the middle of the, well, it would be like, so if they're over here, they'd be like looking like that at the middle of the screen. It just, I don't know, it just looks cooler. So I'm trying it out. Brad Bondin was first. Freelojo was next. Northern Tier, Cole Powers, Troy Prelog, McMucus, Hockey Rounds, Douglas Otwell, Sky Sailor, Freelojo, Haters Gonna Hate, Matt Norton, Safe Zone, Frank Nicholas, Freelojo, McConnell Studios, Feigning Goat, Metal Dirt Skin. I'm just gonna read the first page. Got to get in early if you want to hear the gangliest of ganglies. Read your name. Brad Munden says, CiottiFPV Munden. Brad Munden, there it is. I didn't remember it. I knew it. Haters Gonna Hate says, hope you're doing good. The ultimate freestyle rig flies amazing. Thank you. You're certainly welcome. It is just such a sick build. It's ridiculous how good they fly. Freelojo dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. Feigning Goat says, but never let's go. Indeed. Stop saying let's go, friends. You're better than that. Safe Zone FPV says, evening. Haters Gonna Hate says, having trouble changing the VTX connector anyway. Anyway, we can go over how you do that. It's so small. I've seen some videos that you can desolder the wire by heating the back. Is that what you do? When you say VTX connector, do you mean the UFL connector? I don't replace those anymore. I've replaced them once or twice, and it just doesn't hold. There's a special tool that they use at the factories to crimp that UFL connector on that works really well. We don't have that tool, so like we end up dumping solder in there, and it's just not reliable enough, and the antenna ends up falling off. And when the antenna falls off, that's a great way to lose the entire quad. So in my opinion, once the UFL falls off of an antenna, trash the antenna. Hold on to the antenna, because at some point, you'll have the UFL on the board break off, and then you'll be able to direct solder that antenna whose UFL fell off to the board whose UFL fell off. So hang on to the antenna, but just buy another antenna. It's, you know, $20, $25, $15, $10, depending on what antenna you buy. Well worth it to have something that doesn't fall off and lose you the entire quad. If you have a UFL that has pulled off of your antenna, that is a surefire sign that you did not strain relief that antenna properly. That is your lesson learned. So in the future, you want to look at, so my favorite way to do it on most of my rigs actually is a really simple little TPU piece that you can find. There's a Thingiverse link over on CiottiFPV.com. And this is like a Rotorius, it'll be called like Rotorius antenna holder or something like that. Very, very simple little piece of TPU that goes onto the rear standoffs. It's got a nice 45-degree angle so that when you're flying with the nose down, the antenna is perfectly vertical for the best performance. And then what it does is it just wraps around. Come on, you bastard. I don't have time for this, Logitech. It doesn't help, but it makes me feel better. Come on, you shitbird. Okay. Jesus Christ on a crutch. Can you believe this is like one of the best webcams that there is? This is like the webcam that everybody suggests. All right, well, that makes sense. Logitech software has shit the bed as well. Oh, there it goes. Well, all I have to do is threaten to smash it, and then, see, there it is. So the TPU just wraps around the antenna, and then you put a little zip tie really, really, really tight so that it grabs onto the antenna. When you crash through Scraggle, the Scraggle will like kind of do one of these with the antenna, and it'll pull really hard on the antenna. You wouldn't believe how hard it'll pull on it. So you need to have all of your retention here, and none of your retention at the UFL. So yeah, get your antenna retention situation straightened out, or that's going to continue happening basically, which is kind of silly, and it's going to drive you absolutely mad because antennas get kind of expensive. You're going to break. Here's the other thing, right? You're going to break a lot of antennas anyway because they're finely tuned, and they really get smashed on concrete and whatnot. So you do not want your antennas to die from the UFLs coming off. You want them to die from being smashed on the concrete because there's no way to prevent that. So yeah, figure out how to get good antenna retention. The other way to do it is just to run a zip tie around the rear standoff and then put the antenna up at an angle through it and then just crank that zip tie down really well. When you're done with a build, you want to grab the head of the actually don't grab the head of the antenna because you could rip it off. Grab the wire right below the head of the antenna and give it a couple really good pulls to make sure that it doesn't come slide out of whatever retention you've got and potentially put that stress on the UFL. You want that to happen on the bench, not out in the field. Harmless Adam says, evening. Brad Mondin says, and if none of those work, you're going back to analog, LOL. I'm still on analog, so if none of them work, I'll pick the most durable setup, basically. Freelojo says, today is Wednesday, January 31st, the last day to do your Christmas Amazon returns. Denzel the Terrible says, howdy gangly gang, how are things? YouTube just did the thing. Jamie Lee FPV says, is there a reason why my Mobula 7 back right motor does not spin up when I arm sometimes, and sometimes it starts up fine? Either the motor is on its way out, or that channel, one of the 3 FETs in the ESC of that channel are on their way out. It's fairly common. You can try going into escconfigurator.com or BLHeli, whatever's flashed on there, probably Bluejay, which is escconfigurator.com. You can try going in there and turning up the startup and the ramp up power. Just max them. They probably already are maxed, but if they're not, that's something that might be able to help. But yeah, the answer to your question is that either the motor or that ESC channel is on its way out. Cole Powers says, Vamonos! Haters Gonna Hate says, yes, trying to put the other antenna that you suggested to get better signal for the VTX. Very cool. It's for the ultimate freestyle whoop. I want to change that antenna like you suggested, but to desolder it is a pain in the ass. What? There shouldn't be... What antenna is soldered? There shouldn't be any antennas that are soldered other than the elrs antenna on the Mobula 6 AIO. Hector Polanco says, I bought Acro B65 brushed, and I'm really surprised with how smooth it is. Yeah, the brushed rigs don't have braking. Although I think towards the end they did figure out a way to get braking in there. But yeah, the brushed rigs are way down on power, and they're just nowhere near as optimized as the brushless setups. And it's funny you mentioned that. Smooth is a great word to describe them. They don't have the sharpness that brushed rigs have, and that ends up making them feel very smooth in the air. Yeah, Newbie Drone is selling a brushed Acro B for $60 or something. It's a really good deal, especially for somebody that's brand new into the hobby. Brandon McBean says, I ripped the UFL sockets off in 03 because Scraggle got the antenna and had it zip tied even, but should have done another tie closer to the VTX. Luckily DJI replaced the unit for only a few bucks. Wow, good on DJI for doing that. Haters Gonna Hate says, oh, it's the ELRS. Okay, it's the ELRS antenna. Gotcha. So I have a couple of live streams where I've done that. If you head over to my channel here and just search for ELRS antenna, here you go. Fix Shit Friday, fixing a broken ELRS ceramic antenna. This will walk you through it, and then I did it on this live stream. It looks like I've done it 3 times. So yeah, pick your... Wow, it looks like I've done it 4 times. 5 times. Jesus. There you go. A bunch of different live streams you can go in. They should have timestamps, and you can go right to it and watch me do it. Let's get into it, friends. I'm caught up on the... Wait, yeah. No, here we go. Caught up on chat. This is a box from Newbie Drone. There's a whole bunch of stuff in it. Hey! Something that I already took out of it is a Neminmo elrs module that was only like $40. I was like, yeah, I can't say no to that. So if you're not on elrs yet, Neminmo makes really good elrs stuff. Newbie Drone's got this for $40. Get it. That's an incredible deal. It's so worth $40 to dive into the world of ELRS. The latency is lower. The link is absurdly good. And apparently, pretty soon, it won't be anywhere near as much of a disaster/nightmare to get it bound up. So by the time you get yours and get a couple of receivers and get them soldered up, hopefully there will be an ELRS update that has made the binding much more realistic and much less horrendous, which is kind of what... Sometimes it's not so awful, but sometimes it's an absolute nightmare right now. So thank God someone finally... I think it was Captain Bry, actually, finally put in a pull request and said, like, hey, maybe... I don't know, let's make the binding a little bit less disastrous. So... that's very, very, very exciting. I actually got 6 of these. These are the lighter weight Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3 frames. I got 2 in each color. There's the clearish, kind of like milky clearish. There's the black, and then there's the harsh-ass opaque white. I want to get a bunch of my rigs onto these because I really, really, really like these frames. These are my favorite 65mm Tiny Whoop frames at the moment. The We Bleed Crown is a very close second, but these are significantly... the ducts on these are significantly stronger, which I really like. So, yeah, I'm going to have most of my rigs on these frames, which is super exciting. Put those back there. We've got 2. One of them I mounted the motors up to, so just pretend like it's still in there. 2 of the Meteor 75... What? Oh. Shit. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to get 2 Meteor 75 Pro frames, but instead I got 1 Meteor 75 Pro frame and 1 extra Meteor 75 Air frame. That's fine. That's fine. So, alright, we're going to test one less thing tonight because I don't have a second one of these frames and I'm not going to move motors across. So, tonight, the Meteor 75 Pro frame that we're going to test is going to have the 0802 27,000 kV motors on it. These are the motors that I think are going to match up the best on these bi-blades, so this is totally fine. This saves me from having to do a bunch of extra stuff, which is great. I'm actually glad I did this. I have the Meteor 75 airframe in Smoke Crotch Gray, and now I've got it in clear as well. So I will put something... After I swap the motor leads on the 0802 30,000s, I'll put them into this frame rather than putting them in, rather than having to remove these 1002s and then put them into this frame. We might now that this has changed, we might actually be able to get all this done tonight. We're not going to have tested absolutely everything, but realistically, these 1002 motors at 23,500 kV are probably not going to have enough RPM for these 45mm bi-blades. I could totally be wrong about that. I doubt that I am. So it's kind of fine that we're not testing that. At some point, I will get 45mm tri-blades, and I will try these 1002s on those on this frame. But for tonight, yeah, we're going to stick with this. I'm actually really glad that it went down this way. Because there was just no way that I was going to get all of this done with having to move these motors across, right? Like moving motors is like 12 screws, and it takes a long time. So this is completely fine. And plus, now I don't have to use these silly pink 45mm biblades. I got a couple of sets of Newbie Drone M2 grommets. Whenever I'm on a website and they've got grommets that I don't have more than one set of, I'll just snag them because they don't cost anything, and it's really nice to have a bunch of extra grommets. I actually shot a message over to Damian Gans, Blackbird. He had posted something on Facebook alluding to using... He was talking about 5-inch rigs. Somebody had said that the ICM 2068 gyro is awful and to avoid it. And he said it's his favorite gyro as long as he uses the right gummies, rubber grommets, in his flight controller. And so I sent him a message, and I've always kind of been curious about that. And I have a ton of different color and durometer grommets, but I never took the time. So he flies FETAC KISS, I believe, and so with their, their filtering is nowhere near as good. And so it makes a lot of sense for him to have done that testing because, yeah, he doesn't have the better flight firmware that Betaflight is to handle the with the far more sophisticated filtering. So he's having to do mechanical filtering with different durometer. Durometer is just the hardness, the squishiness of the rubber. So he's doing mechanical tuning with those grommets. The different stiffnesses of grommets will basically filter out different vibrations, right? Like, so a higher durometer, a harder rubber bushing is going to filter out higher frequencies. A softer bushing will filter out more lower frequencies. So I sent him a message. I was like, hey man, have you found like a set of grommets that consistently work really well? Or are you testing a bunch of different ones on each different flight controller, on each different build, and having to like dial it in like that? Hopefully he's found one set of grommets that just works really well across the board. I probably already have them. I will do a little bit of testing. Hopefully Brandon's Baked Beans is down to take a look at some black box logs, because that's the kind of thing that I will not be able to really feel, I don't think. It'll have to show up in black box. But in black box, I think it'll be pretty obvious. So yeah, that'll be kind of fun. I got some more BT 2.0 300 mAh batteries. These are the Tattoo branded ones. They are all the same. Yeah, get whichever ones are on the website that you're doing an order from. So we got that. I got a whole bunch of extra 1210 biblade GemFan propellers, because fresh propellers are everything, and I keep like reusing beat up ones, and it's just kind of silly. And I know on these freestyle builds I'm going to be breaking these Walksnail light cameras, so I snagged one extra Avatar Nano light camera. Did I get the wrong one? I think I got the wrong one. This looks like it has mounting holes on it. It says Avatar HD Nano Camera V3. This is not the right one, is it? Did they change? Is this? It looks like the light camera. Like the frame looks like the light camera, but it also looks like it has... I got the wrong one. God damn it. Yo, that picture... This picture is super... Damn it. The picture of it is incredibly misleading. It looks exactly like the light camera. The picture is at an angle... You can't see it, but the picture is at an angle that you can't... That it looks really thin. But this is not really thin. This is the big, fat, thick-bodied camera. That sucks. Anybody need one of these? It's brand new. This is the Avatar HD Nano Camera V3. If anybody needs this, I'll sell it to you for whatever I bought it for, and then I'll cover the shipping, so you'll save a couple of dollars. God damn it. it's hard to find these Avatar light cameras in stock. I thought I'd found it in stock, so I said, let me grab it now. The hunt continues. I don't know if I've seen these in stock anywhere lately. Not this one, obviously, but the light camera. It probably is in stock somewhere. God damn it. That is very annoying. Hopefully one of you wants to buy this, because I have absolutely no use for it. I'll put it right here to remind myself. And then, of course, Newbie Drone sends fun stuff. All right, cool. Mailbag is done. Look at this cool little sticker sheet they sent. Somebody will win this on our giveaways this coming Monday. CMYK saying, hey. Half-Baked 210 says, just ripped my first 25,000 kV Mobula 6. Awesome, but I've been occasionally having Betaflight restart while arming. Any idea? I mean, it's just broken. Like, there's nothing in the settings that you can really have wrong that'll do that. So that's just your AIO beginning to shit the bed. Check anything that you've changed on it. If you've soldered up a BT 2.0 lead, check your connections. Maybe when it arms and the propellers spin up, it's shaking it a little bit, and then you've got like a cold solder joint, and that's causing it to disconnect for just a split second. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing in Betaflight that you can do that's gonna like help that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no settings for that. So yeah, it could potentially just be that AIO on its way out. With Tiny Whoop stuff, the quality control is pretty awful. But hey, we demand that Tiny Whoop stuff be cheaper than 5-inch stuff, and the manufacturers are screwed because they're putting all the same chips in, right? Like the cost of the materials is practically nothing. So it's really, really difficult for the manufacturers to make Tiny Whoop stuff that is cheaper, but also durable. Not durable, with decent quality control. So, yeah, it's a self-created problem, unfortunately. Haters Gonna Hate says, it's only for elrs where... it's only for elrs where you put the 2.8 gigahertz antenna, not for the FR Sky version. I've been trying to do that. Watch those. I showed you how to do that search. Watch one of those 5 videos. I talk all about that. There's timestamps. You can go right to it. It'll be good to go. And it's 2.4. ELRS is 2.4. Our video systems are 5.8. You probably already know that, but just to clarify that. All right. So first up is our control test, which is the... Hang on one second. My brain just shit itself. We are going to fly the Mobula 7. This is a custom build. I can't really call this a Mobula 7 anymore. It doesn't have much, if any, Mobula 7 stuff left other than the frame. So this is a Mobula 7 V4 frame with Walksnail light, Betaflight Cross AIO, BT 2.0, FR Sky 1002 23,500 kV motors with GemFan 1608 triblades. I think that these are going to be these propellers are going to outperform the next 3 that we're about to test, but I just want to kind of confirm it. I did a Fiverr session with somebody yesterday who has these motors on a toothpick rig, and he tried a couple of tri-blades and quad blades and noticed that on the quad blades it did make more power. So it's been so long since I've tested these motors on any props other than these guys and the bi-blades that I just want to kind of confirm that 1002 is a big ass motor. So a big, beefy, torquey motor might match up really well with these quad blades 1609 quad blades, or maybe even these 16 by 35 tri and quad blades. I'm sorry, these are 1636s. These are 1635s. The quad blades, the way GemFan does it, the quad blades always have one more, a little tiny bit more pitch. So, cool. Brad Monin says, what would you use that camera in? My goggles are coming in tomorrow. I have 3.5. Want to rebuild a toothpick. It would be perfect for a 3.5 inch rig. It really would, because it's nice and lightweight, and it probably has the same sensor as all their bigger cameras. Brad Monin also says, is there a kit of gummies and screws and standoffs? There is not. You got to buy them all one by one by one by one by one by one. Lissamache, I probably screwed that up, but says, I ordered a couple fractal frames, both 65 and 75. My condolences. Partially kidding. I'll have at least one of each with HD0. What motor should I grab for them? Tiny Whoop 27,000 kV seem to be really nice. It depends. There's not like a one-size-fits-all answer to that question. It depends on what you're going to be doing with the builds, what you're going to be doing with the flight footage. There's a million different, not a million, but there's a whole bunch of different things that I would need to know to properly recommend a motor for you. Over on CiottiFPV.com, there's a link to my Fiverr, and there's a couple gigs on my Fiverr. One of the gigs that I have is build planning. And we spend a half an hour or an hour talking about what your goals are, where you fly, how much you fly, what are you doing with the footage, who your favorite pilots are, so I get a feel for, like, you know, are you flying really thrashy, are you flying really cinematic, are you flying long range? I have this big long list of questions that I hit you with, and the answer to all of those questions is going to dial me in on the exact right motor, frame, propeller, battery, all that good stuff. Most people don't do this. Most people will just tell you what their personal favorite motor is, and if you're the exact same human being as them, which obviously you're not, then that's a great suggestion. If you're not, which you aren't, it's not a great suggestion because, yeah, you're different. You fly in different places. You're a different experience level, yada, 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 yada. So, yeah, I really try not to answer questions like that with just 1002, 23,500, next, because it just, you know, this is long-form media. Let's take advantage of, having the amount of time here to properly talk through this stuff. But I've got tonight, it's kind of rough. I've got a ton of stuff going on, so I can't spend 20 minutes diving in one-on-one with you here on the stream, unfortunately. But you're more than welcome to book a half an hour of my time and we'll dive into it. Or you can just kind of take a look through the tons of live streams that I've got where I have tested so much of this stuff, and you can watch me build them, listen to me talk about them, and then watch me fly them and try to come up with your own kind of answer. You know, just ask yourself what your time is worth, right? You're going to spend 5 or 10 hours doing that. For $40, you can get me for a half an hour and we'll knock it out. So if your time is worth that and my time is worth that to you, awesome. I would love to do a one-on-one session with you. If not, I dump all this info out there. It's just going to take you some time to dive in and find all of it. But, you know, that's the beauty of the internet, I guess. Brad Minen says, if you can give me a couple days, I'll buy it. Awesome. Shoot me a message wherever. And it's all yours, my man. Okay. First up, GemFan 1608 tri-blades. We did fly this the other day, so I kind of know what to expect, but it's always good to get a baseline when you're trying to test this stuff that is as close in time to the when the difference that changing some of this stuff in FPV makes is pretty subtle. So if you're going to try to test stuff, you want to fly the control and then as quickly as possible fly the thing that you're testing. The gap in time in between there, if it's a couple days, you're screwed. Like, the gap needs to be like a couple minutes, if possible, in order for you to remember how the previous setup flew and be able to really compare that to the to whatever it is that you're experimenting with. So, yeah. I do tons and tons and tons of testing, which is where I've kind of learned that. Hey, there we go. All right. Here it is. And this also lets you see how it flies on one versus the other without having to go all the way back to the live stream from a couple days ago. Oh, you dick. I didn't mean to do that. Shit. I gotta turn the transmitter on, and I think I have the wrong module in here. Where's the Naminmo module? Is it over there? Let's see. Maybe this is the right module. I hope it is. Come on. What? What was that? Why? It looks like it looks like it's getting. Why does the RSSI and link quality keep doing that? If it's the wrong module, it should just stay zeroed. Why? How is it? Why is it doing that? What the hell? I'm pretty sure it's the. Now it's in the fucking Wi-Fi mode. What the hell's going on here? Hold on, I gotta find the other module. I think it's here. Here it is. I thought that we flew this the other day, though, which makes me feel like I should have the right module already. Power cycled it. Maybe that's all it needed. No. I think it's the wrong module. Let's try it. One of these modules has elrs 2.5. The other one has elrs 3.0. So I always have to bounce back and forth. There we go. Nope, it's doing it again. Nope, there it is. Hey, all right, cool. I was right. I did have the wrong module in there. All right, hopefully this cable hangs in here for a little while longer. Be as gentle as I can with these goggles. All right. Whoa, oh God. Okay, I'm getting all kinds of micro failsafes again. What the hell is going on with this, man? elrs is... Oh God, what the fuck? Maybe it's just hot. Hold on, let's just limp it around. Oh my God, it's just constantly in, like, micro failsafe. Come on. Nope, there it goes. Stop! When it does that really sharp rotation, that's it coming out of failsafe. What the fuck, elrs, you piece of shit. elrs is usually really good. Oh, come on. Okay. It's no longer overheating. So, these are the 1002 23,500s on the GemFan 1608. This isn't... Oh, God. This isn't that bad. It's not that great either, though. What? Oh, I'm next to the bass drum. Oh, God. You... 75mm rigs in the house are kind of silly. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do this, but it's dark out, so... Oh, boy. It is really... tough to fly something this heavy in the house. Ah! 65 is the way for flying in the house, unquestionably, but I think elrs might have been upset because of the heat. Oh God, why me? Get out of there, don't go behind it. Good. I just wanted to throw it out so that I didn't accidentally put it behind the shelf. I don't really care about runtime, I just care about flight performance. the biggest problem I'm having with all these 75mm rigs is the lack of response time, the kind of shit response time. If you look at my throttle input, 100, like it's so delayed. I need to find a motor and propeller setup that are going to give much better response time than what I'm getting with this. It makes it really difficult to fly. It's just like delayed, it's sluggish, it's slow. In fairness, I'm asking for a lot. Like, I'm asking for it to be as good as the 65mm rigs, and I don't think that's possible, but I want to try to get it as close as I can. Like, the 65s are they're unmatched. And what's cool about that is that it sets like this impossible bar, and so to try to chase that, it makes me work a lot harder, right? Like, I could just call it a day at this point and be like, well, it flies pretty good. Next, let's build something else. Like that, you know, if I was interested in having a really popular, really successful channel, that's probably what I should do. But I'm more interested in really nailing this setup than having a popular YouTube channel or a more successful career. But alternatively, like, you know, you guys come here for you guys don't come here for me to build 80 different things that are just clickbaity and whatnot. You come here for the refinement of the FPV experience, which is what I'm sort of known for, and that's what I like doing. So that's what we're going to do. The prop popper works significantly less good on non-tiny whoop motors, but you can still kind of get it to work. Although always just try, in my opinion, to pinch the motor and just grab the propeller and give it a little pull and turn. You can, with GemFan props, I'll say, you can usually just kind of pop them off that way without having to dig the prop popper in there and potentially move the C-clip, or the real problem is it leaves digs in the motor, and we can't have that. Let's go over to the 1635 tri-blades next. Let's do the tri-blades first, and then... No. Let's stick with low pitch. We're going to stick with low pitch. We're going to go from 3 to 4 blades. So we're going from a 1608, 1.6 inches, 08 pitch tri-blade to a 1609, 1.6 inch, 09 pitch quad blade. It's kind of insane that there's only one... Hold on. Let me check something real quick. Sometimes the names of the propellers and the numbering of the propeller does not match with the actual pitch. And so let me just check that super quick. Like, oh, here's their new... Is that the... Yeah, here's their new ultra lightweight little propeller. Let's go to mini, and okay, so we are looking for 40mm. Here we go, 40mm. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Here we go, 1608 by 3, 1609. This is what we want. Okay, 1608 by 3. No, yeah, that's right. Pitch is 0.8 of an inch. And then the 1609 by 4. Oh man, we'll see. This says the pitch is 0.8 of an inch. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't understand how... first of all, I think that this is a copy and paste error here. I'm pretty sure that that on the 1609, the pitch should be 0.9 of an inch. I'm shocked that adding an entire extra blade does not make it more pitchy. Does not make it more than 0.1 of an inch more pitchy, especially because when I look at these two propellers and I line the blades up, they look like they're at the exact same angle. With that small of a difference between in the actual pitch. So what pitch means is how it's a measure of the distance the propeller will travel during one full rotation. So you would think that going from 3 blades to 4 blades would lead to more of a difference than that. And if there was so small of a difference, what you would assume is that the angle of the 3 blade is steeper than the angle of the quad blade, and that is not the case. It doesn't look like it's the case. Maybe it is, but they certainly look like they're at the exact same angle. Google propeller pitch. There's a couple of really good articles out there. You'll learn a lot. It's kind of fascinating stuff. So, yeah. We're now going to add a bunch of weight because we're adding an entire extra blade. But at the very least, we're going to go from 0.8 of an inch of pitch to 0.9 of an inch of pitch. I personally think that there's going to be a bigger jump than that. I just can't fathom how it would be that small of a jump. I could totally be wrong. But yeah, I think that we are going to gain a bunch more pitch than 0.1. Although, you know, at that low of a number, 0.8 versus 0.9, percentage-wise, this is like a 12%, 11 or 12% increase. And that's pretty significant, but that's not the percentage increase that I would expect from going from 3 blades to 4 blades, right? 3 blades to 4 blades is a 33% increase or a 25% increase, not an 11 or 12% increase. So, yeah. Brandon's Baked Beans, great comment. He says, also, the pitch varies down the length of the prop, so what pitch are they referring to? Total pitch. Total pitch with one... they should be. I mean, I'm certain that they're not having these physically tested in a... what are those fluid-based wind tunnels called? I'm not sure. I'm sure that they're just doing it in software. They're just doing software calculations. But, yeah, I digress. I need this battery in the charger. All right, there we go. Battery we just flew is on the charger. We're going to need that later. Here we go. Quad blades versus tri-blades. See if I can tell a difference. Blizzard FPV with a 2 Canadian Californian dollar super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, didn't someone say elrs 3 was goofing drones? I hope not. That'd be very annoying. Grey Hat says, do you have one video on finding the right throttle midpoint and expo for a whoop? I've talked about it so many times, and I go through the whole kind of thing each time. But I dove pretty good into it in the 10 tips that will make you a better pilot live stream from last week, I guess it was. All right. Here we go. Keep an eye on the throttle value. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So, since the propellers are now heavier, wow, yeah, there was so the acceleration has gotten significantly worse, which is why I'm coming up so short on those. I'm giving it the same amount of time at full throttle. What the fuck? What the hell? is going on? And it's just coming up way lower. This might have more peak throttle if you just sit it at full throttle for a long time, but that's not what I'm going for. Like, this isn't a drag race quad. This is a freestyle rig. Freestyle rigs need to be very responsive, and I have made that worse. Go figure. The propellers are much heavier because of the extra blade, so it's going to take longer. Oh my god, what the hell was that? So it's going to take much longer to change the speed of the propeller. Jesus. Wow, yeah. This is way worse. This is not the way. And what that means, probably, what this most likely means is that the next two propellers I'm going to test are going to be significantly worse. Which is what I expected, but it's good to always retest stuff. Look at the runtime. The runtime is absolutely horrendous, too. The less blades, the more efficiency. You can still do... Oh, wow, and the PID tune is even suffering because the rotating assembly is so much heavier. You can still do some stuff, but I'm having to work really, really, really hard. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh, wow, yeah. It's just sloppy and slow and not what we want for freestyle. Look at Michael Scott. Nice ride, 9. All right. Let's power this down, pull this battery, and on to the next. Yeah, I kind of knew that's what was going to happen, but again, great to retest. So, yeah, if I were to fly this outside and, like, just... If I was to fly it outside and, like, rip it across the lawn and, like, run it down the street, these quad blades might be a little bit more interesting because you're giving it more time to use that extra thrust that it can eventually make if you just sit it up at a high throttle value. But the response time is going to drive you insane. You're not going to be able to get a great PID tune because of that reason. You've got so much weight on the motor, and so yeah, limited. There are a limited amount of situations where these props on these motors would be better. It would basically be like if you're just building something for all-out thrust. If you only care about raw thrust, you don't care about flight performance or yeah, anything else. Thrust is not the answer, my friends. Every once in a while it is. But typically more thrust is not the answer. You want the right amount of thrust, and then you want the lightest weight possible rotating assembly. Although there is also you do get some grip from additional blades. So if you're doing racing stuff, try additional blades to see if fuck, my fingers are starting to already hurt like shit from removing these props. Yeah. Always try all the... I mean, in my opinion, just sort of always try all of the propellers available. With 5-inch, that's a little difficult. But, like, with anything smaller than 5-inch, it'll cost you, like, $30 max to buy all of the propellers that exist. And then you can test them. And it's a really good learning experience to do that. And you might find a wacky propeller that you, for whatever reason, you really, really, really like. So, yeah, do your own testing for sure. Testing props is a great learning experience. Jesus, come on, God damn it. And yeah, it'll literally make you a better pilot, because the changing propellers is the most drastic change and the easiest to... Fuck! I hate this. I hate getting these props off and on. Yeah, you'll have the best chance at actually being able to feel a difference, and that's a really good learning experience. So I definitely recommend it. Get in there. I gotta be really nice to this prop popper because they're like vaporware, man. They're so hard to get. Wow, I can't. Ah, there we go. Ah, god damn you. I try not to spin the prop a ton on the motor, because sometimes, especially if the prop is really holding on, the prop will grip the motor shaft so hard that you actually spin the motor shaft on the bell, and then that ruins the motor. So I just try to turn it a little tiny bit to kind of keep that from happening. God damn you! What can sometimes help is this is drawer liner material. This is really good for getting a grip on the motor bell. This makes it easier to spin the motor bell. Sometimes it makes it easier to pull up on the prop, but yeah, have a little strip or two of this floating around. Wow, it actually really helps with these bigger motors. On the smaller motors, it sometimes can kind of get in the way, but on the bigger motors, it's really helpful. So GemFan 1609 quad blades, other than raw horsepower and or additional grip, fail. They might need an even bigger than 1002 motor. They might need like an 1102 or a 12 something to really come alive. I don't know. I've never found a motor that is big enough for those. Now we're going to go to the 1635. Yeah, 1635 tri-blades. Super, super, super pitchy, old school propeller. I am not going to push these all the way down in the motor shaft because these propellers fit very tight. I might have drilled these out because these actually fit fine. I take it back. Yeah, these are okay. Never ever, if a propeller is really, really, really difficult to put onto a motor, don't just keep pushing on it. Eventually, you're going to have to remove it, and it's going to be a disaster to try to get off of there. So stop. If you're pushing harder and harder and harder, and it's getting a little ridiculous, stop. Buy a 0.99 or 0.98 rather, or 1.48 millimeter drill bit, and drill them out. Don't just hammer them on there. It's going to make future you extra angry. Or maybe that's just me. 1635 tri-blades. Let's see how they are. Each one of these propellers, you'll notice, sounds significantly different too. The quad blades should be quieter. I don't necessarily find them quieter. I just find them to have a different pitch, a different tone. A lot of times it's like they're higher pitched, yeah, they're higher pitched, and I don't necessarily like that. I kind of like the way that bi and tri-blades sound, if I'm honest. Here we go. Whoa, okay. So, I don't know if you guys can see the jello, but there's a lot of jello. So these are nowhere near as well balanced, which is interesting. Oh, God. I do have more thrust than the quad blades, though. Whew, boy, the jello is nasty. These feel a lot better than those quad blades, though. Significantly. What the hell? Really? How do you not have enough? Oh my fucking god. Here we go. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Calm the fuck down, chat. Take it easy. God, stop typing in all capitals. Oh, God! That left a mark in the wall for sure. There's no way that didn't. Oh, God. This thing crashes like a ton of bricks. The response time is better than the quad blades, but nowhere near as good as the tri-blades. The 1608 tri-blades, I should say. So, this is still a step, and I mean, this jello issue is horrendous. So, this is a step in the wrong direction, but this is another level of pitch, so this will go even faster down the street if you're looking for speed. If you're racing a buddy, this would be a good prop for that. For anything else, though, especially because of this jello, do not recommend it. This is a rig that a minute ago had no jello at all, right? So, like, we can't blame anything other than the propellers for this jello. Swear to God, if somebody types into the chat, oh, it's because of your PID tune, I'm going to ban your ass. Whew, wow, brutal. Okay. Good test, though. This is why we test. Man, that jello is nasty. Yikes. All right, very short runtime, too. Again, blades are at a much steeper angle. For each rotation of the blade, it's going to travel farther. So, yeah, these like lower kind of KV motors, 23,500, it's going to travel faster. Metal Dirtskin says, pitch means the angle of a single blade, so the number of blades is unrelated to the number. Same pitch plus more blades equals more thrust. That's what I thought for the longest amount of time. And from what I understand from the research that I've done on pitch, that is like basically true. In most cases, that is true, but not in all cases. Brandon's Baked Beans earlier talked about how the down the blade, some blades will be like three-dimensional and they'll have different amounts of angle down the blade. Basically, when I started reading on the internet about pitch, I very quickly learned that what it actually means is it's a measurement of one full rotation, how far it travels. So again, what you're saying is pretty much true, right? Because when you angle the blade more, it's going to go farther. But in actuality, my understanding of pitch is that and that's why pitch is measured in inches, right? 0.8 of an inch. How would this relate to an inch, right? Like this would need to be degrees. If pitch was measured the way that you're saying and the way that I thought it was, it would need to be measured in degrees, but it's not. It's measured in inches because it's distance traveled per single rotation. If I'm wrong about that, somebody definitely let me know. But that's I got all weird about propellers probably about 2 years ago, and I read a whole bunch of really over my head technical shit on aeronautical websites about how propellers work, and it was around the time that Rugi was talking a lot about disk loading, and that put me down this rabbit hole of learning about how propellers work and whatnot. And in that learning, I realized that my thinking about pitch had been technically wrong, but like I said, it's still pretty right. Like, you put more angle on the blade, and it's gonna travel farther in a fluid or in the air. So yeah. But where it really becomes interesting is when you add or remove blades, right? If you add an additional blade, how does that affect the pitch? The math is probably not as simple as like add 3 to 4 blades. It's an additional 25 or 33 or whatever the hell the math works out %. I'm sure the math is much different. But yeah, there's that. All right, now we're going to go to GemFan OG. These are actually Flywoo, like the V2. They don't have the other mounting holes in them. Oh, man, that one light has been bouncing around all night, hasn't it been? Sorry to anyone that's been driving you insane. Yeah, these are the version 2 old school 1636 quad blades. Tons of pitch. All the pitch. Here we go. Yeah, measuring the pitch in inches, I think, is extra important for us because our propeller blades are very three-dimensional. The inside of the blade will be very steep, and then it'll like kind of ramp. The angle will kind of ramp down towards the tip of the propeller, which I've always assumed is an attempt to make these propellers work in the weird situation that we fly them in, right? Like, most propellers are designed to just do this. They're designed to just pull air in and push it out. We fly propellers like this and that and that and that and that and that and that. So the three-dimensionality of our props, I've always kind of assumed is important for getting them to work in all of the different with all of the different angles of inflow of air coming in when we fly these things. Here we go. All right, so the jello is gone. That's great. These are way better balanced, but this battery is dead. What the hell? Why is this battery dead? What the Oh, because I just put the same battery back right on it. Oopsie. Sorry, little battery. I just over-discharged. No, it's good. 3.7. It's fine. Fresh battery. Here we go. No jello, so that's good. These are better balanced. Which makes sense. They don't have those stupid screw mount holes. But Erickson says, question, not a statement. Could drastic prop thrust difference actually require retuning the PIDs? For sure. As can the different weight of the propeller. A heavier propeller will slow down the response time, so you would want to bump the PIDs up to offset that. So both things, the difference in response time as well as the difference in raw thrust. My guess is the difference in response time would be more important. These actually fly okay. Look at that yaw. These are not bad at all. They're still not, like, great. There's still a... Oh, God. There's still a huge delay. All right, look at the throttle percentage off on the right there. 38, 37, 36. Ready? Look at the delay between when I go at 100%. But I feel like there's actually less of a delay than maybe even than the... I think these are the best of these 4 props that I've tried. I really need to fly the 1608 triblades again, though. Hopefully one of these batteries is done and I can do that. Because it's been 2.5 batteries since I flew them. And the other 2 propellers were not great. This is a lot of propeller here, man. 1630, 1636. This is nutty. Ah! I just have to sit it. I think I'm getting used to having to sit the damn thing at full throttle for like a half second to get it to throw itself across the room at all. Whereas like what I want to be able to do is just blip the throttle for like an eighth of a second and have it throw itself across the room. Also, you guys are seeing the prop wash that's kind of coming out. That is a surefire sign that the propeller is heavier. Like we were just talking about, the prop is heavier. It's more draggy. But yeah, other than that, these are actually not bad. I'm kind of impressed by these, all things considered. Let's swap it back to the tri-blades. One of these batteries is at 4.32 volts, so that is probably just high enough for it to be a fair comparison. Wow, okay. I would not have thought... I would have thought that these would kind of be the worst, but maybe the fact that they're like the V2 is kind of helping out. So I'll show you the difference between the old school 1635, 1636, and these V2s in a second. Let me just get these guys off. Oh man, I'm gonna have sore fingies tomorrow for sure. Ah, you fuck. I should have drilled these all out before the stream. Ah! My God, man. Let me use the little drawer liner material. That really worked well a minute ago. You just kind of put it up in there like this, just so that you can get it in between your fingers and the bell. And then it's just really, really grippy stuff. Oh yeah, this stuff. This stuff is the best for bigger motors, man. For anything smaller than 1002, though, this stuff doesn't typically work all that well because it just kind of gets in the way. But man, these motors and bigger motors, although typically when you go bigger than this, you start to use the prop screws and the motors just fall onto the 1.5 mil shafts. But yeah, if you're ever having a hard time getting a propeller off of a motor, this stuff is phenomenal. All right, so here's the difference between like the regular old school super pitchy GemFans and the V2s. It's mainly just the hub. See that? So this is the old school one. You would never, ever, ever use the extra screws to hold these down. And this is the V2. Unfortunately, you cannot get this V2 in tri-blade. They only make it in this quad blade for 1.5 millimeter shaft. They do make a yellow version of this in tri-blade, but it's only for a 1 millimeter shaft, which kind of makes it pointless because when you're up in the world of 1.6 inch props, your rigs are going to be so heavy that a 1 millimeter motor shaft is just going to bend all over the damn place. So yeah, damn, these are really good actually. Let's check ourselves on that though, and we're gonna put the 1608 tri-blades back on, which have been my favorite of these multi-bladed 1.6 inch props for a long time. So this should be better or at least the same, but let's find out. See if I can tell. This motor wire was trying to get up in the props. What are you doing that for? Don't do that, idiot. Stay out of the propellers, you jerk. 4.33, close enough. And here we go. Remember to turn these goggles on earlier so that they'll have time to boot up. All right, after this, we're going to dive into some much more interesting testing. Oh my God, it's 9:30 already? Jesus. Atomic Rebel says, where is your prop popper? It's right over here. It doesn't work all that well on 1.5 millimeter shaft motors. That That's not true. It doesn't work well on motors that the top of the bell is not completely flat. These Flywoo motors have like a crazy spoke design up on the top, and the prop popper just doesn't work all that well on these particular motors. So this has a little bit less thrust, but the response time is better. As to be expected, this is a lighter weight propeller, much lower pitch, and less blades. But as you can see, I just came up really short on that. It doesn't have the same thrust. I can adjust, though. This is the better propeller. Oh, shit. This... Oh my god, yeah. And this battery was not charged. Even though the battery was showing like 3 point whatever. The batteries have to settle for a while. Yeah, this battery is going dead. Jesus, hell! I'm also getting more comfortable as I fly this more, and that's making me like expect a lot more of it. Oh, come on, god damn it. 75 millimeters are just the worst in the house. It's just, it makes your life so difficult. I think the up tilt might have changed too. It feels really weird. Why are these crashes happening? Hold on. Let me take a... Oh, God, yeah, there's like 40 degrees of up tilt right now. Yeah, that would explain it. Look at all that up tilt. That's not right. Okay, that's where we need it to be. I'm sitting here like, why all of a sudden does this thing feel absolutely horrendous and I can't even just, like, fly next to the bookshelf with it? Yeah, that... When your up tilt dramatically changes, good lord, does it become much more difficult to fly the rig. Especially when you're trying to do power loops and stuff like that. Oh, that's so much better. Oh my god, why? Why would I not bail on that? Oh, why wouldn't I not smash into that? Much better. No! Ah! No! Why? Yeah, it's heavy, man. Alright. Well, I'm really glad that I did this test. I almost didn't do this because, like I said, I've done this before. I've tested all these propellers back to back before. Shut up, phone! And so I kind of knew what to expect, but I didn't realize that these quad blades were this good. This is why I retest stuff a lot, because my taste changes. Maybe the rig was screwed up when I previously did the testing and whatnot. So yeah, it's interesting. Man, yeah, the a lot more thrust with these 1636 quad blades. All that being said, this still sucks to fly. In the current configuration, it still kind of sucks. It needs better response time. That's being very harsh, but it does. It needs better response time, and it also needs more power. It does legitimately need more power. So away we go. Let me get caught up on chat. Hold on. Atomic Rebel says, I got 25,000 kV snowblower motors on Meteor 75 Pro along with GemFan biblade props. What changes should I make to the PIDs rates from stock? Changing the PIDs and rates from stock is all about you. And that specific rig. If that rig is dealing with like, yeah. So if you've got a bunch of prop wash, more D gain. If it's not sharp enough, feed forward and P gain. If the roll axis is more under control than the pitch axis, then you want to push the pitch sliders up. And then in terms of rates, that is 100% you. There is not like rates are a 100% you specific thing that you're going to dial in. I can't really help you out with that at all, other than to explain what rates are, which is that you should be using actual rates. And then it's super simple. The center stick sensitivity adjusts how sensitive it is in the center of the stick travel. The expo adjusts how sensitive it is in the middle of the stick travel. And then the max rotational rate adjusts how fast it spins when the stick is all the way maxed out. And that's it. That is 100% what rates are, and you're going to adjust them to your specific taste and how you want your flight footage to look and how you want the rig to fly. So, yeah. There's nothing about like a specific set of motors, a specific set of propellers, a specific frame that is going to affect PIDs or rates. It's all about rates are all about you and what you want, how you want the rig to fly, and then PIDs are all about correcting bad behaviors. Stock PIDs are fantastic. Most rigs, they're going to be like 80% of the way perfect. If you want to spend a bunch of time, and if there are specific things that the rig is doing poorly, you're going to use individual sliders to target those. But my typical suggestion is just to fly stock PIDs, because it's going to let you just concentrate on your flying rather than having the PIDs to blame, right? Like you miss a gap and you're like, man, if my PIDs were just better tuned, I would have hit that gap. Abso-fucking-lutely not. You missed the gap because you didn't fly it properly. Like there is not a pilot on Earth, there is not like a professional pilot on Earth that you couldn't give a rig with a horrible PID tune and they would make your eyeballs melt out of your head by how good they are. PIDs do not help. They just make the footage look a little bit better. So yeah, if you've got a YouTube channel and you're trying to get people to watch and you want your flight footage to be as good as possible, by all means, dive into PIDs. Make sure that, you don't have any prop wash, because God forbid somebody comments, yo bro, your tune sucks, lol. Like, A, fuck that person. Who cares? That is the dumbest thing ever. But B, you do you. Jake FPV says, get some prop drills and you can make any prop a 1.5mm shaft. Sort of true. I've got 1.47 and 0.98mm drill bits, and I have drilled propellers out for, Christ, 8+ years now. The problem with doing it is that it never perfectly centers itself, so you always end up with a propeller that is slightly out of balance, and that for me is just kind of unacceptable. Nowadays, damn near every single propeller is available. That's not true. Nowadays, the good propellers are available in both 1mm and 1.5mm. So it's fine. You buy the right prop, it'll be properly balanced and centered, and then your PID loop won't eat shit and explode. And you won't have to sit there drilling individual props out. The other thing that happens when you drill individual props out is that you don't want to change those propellers. So you run the propellers to the point where they're like bent to shit and just like ruined, because it's annoying to have to continue to drill props out. So in terms of like trying to get good and fly a rig that is on somewhat fresh propellers that's going to perform decent, when I was drilling props out, I wouldn't take chances. I would fly very safe and very conservative so that I didn't smash it and have to drill out yet another set of propellers. So it's something that I don't recommend for all of those reasons. Brad Monden says, is a firmware update all I should do to my Avatar goggles when I get them? Maybe. it depends on what version of the firmware your VTXs are on. If the goggles come with the same version of the firmware as your VTXs, I would just bind them up and fly them for a while, and then at some point when it makes sense, do the firmware update, or when a new firmware comes out that has something really cool and amazing. Yeah, there have really not been super incredible firmware updates that I've seen for Walksnail recently. There was like a weird race mode that came out in one of the recent ones, but who the hell's racing with Walksnail? So yeah, as with most things, my recommendation is always to just fly it. But updating goggle and VTX firmware is a much safer thing to do with a brand new whatever than updating Betaflight. This whole like get a fresh rig and immediately update Betaflight is just awful. That is such a bad idea, and we really need to stop doing that. It causes so many more problems, and like ever since Betaflight 4.2, the differences in 4.3, 4.4, and now 4.5 are almost indistinguishable. So all you're doing is opening the door for all kinds of problems, and you're wiping out any specific tuning that the manufacturer might have done on that rig that could really make it perform an awful lot better. So there's a chance that you're going to make it perform a lot worse by kind of doing that. So careful with that. We need to resist the urge to get a bind and fly and immediately update it, immediately upgrade it. Just fly it the way that it is. Make sure it works. That's the other thing, is that by doing so, if all of a sudden it doesn't work, you have no idea if that's your fault or if it came out of the box like that. So it's actually really important if you're gonna if you're gonna buy a bind and fly, when you get it, do what it's called. Bind it and fly it. Stop upgrading these things right out of the box, because there's just so many opportunities for nightmares. And then if it is defective, you're going to spend hours and hours and hours to figure that out. And then you're going to have to lie to whoever you bought it from and say like, oh yeah, it was, I just took it out of the box and it was like this. And like, that's, that's not super cool. It is what it is, but and you might be wrong. Like, you literally may have screwed something up during the updating process, and then that's super not cool, because that means that they sent you a working thing and then you screwed it up. And what's going to happen is you're going to order another one, you're going to update that one again, and the whole shit's going to happen again. And then you're going to message them and say, hey, the same thing happened. And they're going to be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing to these rigs? Like, the chances of 2 of these in a row are significantly lower, and then you're going to get pissed off at them, and you're going to post all over the internet about it, and it's just, welcome to FPV. So yeah, we all need to abstain from instantly upgrading stuff. Instantly upgrading bind and flies specifically. You can make that argument for all of our electronics, right? Because like the lack of quality control is a thing that we do deal with. So like whenever we get electronic components, we should leave them completely alone, power them up and put them up in the air and fly a few batteries on them. Make sure the gyro doesn't shit the bed right away. Make sure the accelerometer doesn't shit the bed right away. I am as guilty as anyone of not doing that, and I will probably never do that. But I've built probably 200-300 different rigs over the last 8 years, so I can kind of get away with it a little bit more than most. This Meteor 75 Pro frame is awful stiff, which you would think is a good thing, but to me it's more of a bad thing, because I think it's gonna break. I don't think this frame is gonna be all that durable. I could absolutely be wrong, and quite frankly, I hope that I'm wrong. But yeah, this is a stiff-ass frame. Most Tiny Whoop frames that are durable are not this stiff. A stiff frame is good for the ladies, but not good for... A stiff frame is good for black box, but it's not good for durability, usually. It kind of depends. Carbon fiber, awesome. Stiff it up, bro. Plastic, well, careful. Careful, careful. All right, here we go. Got 2 motors plugged in. Let's get the other 2. Okay. I might have to put this into Betaflight. I hope I don't. I'm certainly going to have to put it into Betaflight because those flywheel motors don't have the clockwise counterclockwise, don't have the wires set up for clockwise and counterclockwise like Happy Model motors do. So yeah, I'm absolutely going to need to put this into Betaflight and get these Happy Model motors spinning the correct direction. So we'll just do that first. I just know that's going to be the case. So I'm just going to dive right in. I'm not even going to power it up and see if maybe by some wild coincidence the motors spin the right direction. Here we go. This battery. So none of these batteries are going to be like fully charged, but they're charged pretty decent. Should give us a decent enough idea of what's happening. Come on, Betaflight. Come on, there we go. All right, motors. Just to kind of confirm that. Motor 1 is right. Motor 2 is wrong, though. Cool. Yeah, I was right. All right, motor direction. I understand the risks. Wizard, please don't go full throttle. 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 Hey! Motor 1 is wrong. Let's reverse it. Motor 2 is wrong. Let's reverse it. Why are they all wrong? Motor 3 is wrong. Motor 4 is wrong. So this is now... So this is now two... I've now had both experiences. I thought that I had figured out that if you put the motor with the... Initially, I thought that motor 1 should have the dot on the connector. But then I built a rig last week, and it was opposite. And so I've begun putting motor 1 with no dot, and now all 4 were backwards. So the whole dot, no dot thing, there's no way to get it right. It's you're always going to be wrong. So that's annoying as hell. Because man, would it be... I mean, I guess a lot of times you have to go into the wizard anyway to reset the changes that you've previously made. But yeah, DJI goggles went on crazy sale today, which is a very obvious nod towards the V4 system coming out soon. From what Ian Mads Tech was saying, though, there's basically not going to be any reason for us FPV donkeys to go down the V4 air unit route. And that dude knows his shit, so I kind of trust him. So, yeah, that's interesting. I actually really like that. NWJS quit unexpectedly. What the fuck is NWJS? All right. Come to life. Are these props on right? They are. Look at me go. Meteor 75 Pro frame, iGal limited edition, 0802, 27,000 kV motors, and the 45mm biblades. Let's see. Let's see what this whole 45mm craze is about. I do not recommend these big-ass props on an analog rig. The regular 1.6-inch props are plenty for the analog Jungle Gym bashers. Oh, alright, well... Oh, it's worse. The response time is way worse. Oh my god, this sucks. Oh, boy. Yeah, this ain't it. Oh, God. And it's like... Oh. It's even heavier. It's even fatter. God damn it, I was really hoping that this would be the answer. Oh, you shitbird. Wow, this feels awful. Yikes. Okay. See, I mean, I'm sure that you guys can see how slow... What's happening here? Okay, that's full throttle. What? That's full throttle. What's happening? What? Hold on. Let's go into turtle mode and spin each one up, see if we can figure it out. Oh yeah, motor number 3 is hurting. Listen, ready? You'll hear me slap the stick into the corner, and then listen to how slowly it winds up. Ready? Well, now it's fine all of a sudden. Listen to how slowly the motors spin up, though. It's like, there's like a full half second of acceleration. What the hell's going on? Why won't it arm now? Oh, it's still in turtle mode. Dumbass. Listen to this. Ready? It doesn't sound that bad, I guess. Man, it is vibey as hell, though. Where are all these vibrations coming from? Hold on. Let me go back into turtle mode. Wow, all 4 of them are pretty vibey. Strange. Wow, this is bad. This is real bad. Jesus, I don't even want to fly the rest of this battery. I guess I will. Oh, the VTX is too hot. Why is it so hot? Maybe because of all the vibrations. Nah, it's coming down. It's coming down. Battery's at 3.4 though. It's done. Oh boy, what a disappointment. Jesus, I thought this was it, man. I was like, yeah, here we go. This is gonna be the one. That is bad. So... Alright. Here's my theory. Is that these... So these are just 802s. And then we've got these giant 45mm props. I think this is the limit of the 802s. So more and more and more and more kV, it does help. It does help you get more power, but there is a point where continuing to add more and more and more kV without beefing the motor, beefing the stator size up and the motor size up, you hit a point of diminishing returns. And I believe that we've gone way over the limit here. And so what's interesting about this is I will know the answer to this when I put the 1002s onto this frame and try them. Unfortunately, I don't think the 1002s are going to have enough kV to really get me the power that I want. So like the situation with this rig continues to be, and has been for a while now, that these 802 27,000s have enough RPM, but they don't have enough stator size. And so they have enough RPM to make good full throttle power, but the response time sucks because the motor is too small and it doesn't have the torque and the power to increase the speed of the propeller quick enough. But if you just sit it on full throttle eventually it'll spin the props all the way up and you'll get a bunch of power. But it happens very it takes too long for that to happen. There's always a balance with motors. We want the motor to be as small and light as possible, which these 802s are on a big build like this. But then they have to be big enough where they're a big enough heat sink and they don't get too hot. And I think maybe that's also something that we're dealing with here. I think these are, for the amount of power they're making, my guess is that they're probably getting a little bit warm. And when magnets get warm, they lose their, they become less magnetic, and they just, yeah, all of the bad things. So, yeah, damn, okay. I am disappointed. This thing is fat with this frame, though. This is a heavy-ass frame. Is there a weight measurement on the box? That's not the box. Is this the box? There's no weight measurement. Hold on. Boy, that felt worse than any other combo that I've flown tonight. That is the worst feeling setup. We want to look for Meteor 75 Pro weight. Whoa! What? That's why it's so stiff. Oh my god. That is asinine. That is so dumb. That is such a dumb amount of weight. What the hell? Wait a second. No. That's the full build. I'm sorry. Hold on. Although, that is an absurd amount of weight. Oh, yeah. It's still... I was mainly looking at the increase in weight there, but I obviously knew that the frame itself doesn't weigh 33 grams. But I was just looking at that the difference between the two weights. Here we go. Meteor 75 Pro. Frame only. 7.73 grams. Boy, oh boy, is that heavy. Jesus. Compared to the other Meteor 75 frames, this is the Air, which is 4.5 grams. Wow. Wow. It's almost twice as heavy. Yikes. Yeah, okay. So that has a lot to do with why this felt so bad. Whew, boy. So, yeah, these 802s they're not for this frame at all. This frame is a 1002 frame, absolute minimum. Maybe even like an 1102 frame or 1003. There is an RC and Power 1003. Unfortunately, the KV is very low, so it's more of like a 2S motor, which is just stupid. But yikes! I didn't realize that this 75 Pro frame was this heavy. That's insane. Boy, am I curious what it would be like with the 1002s on it. How quick can I get these 1002s off of here and swap them? I think I might be able to do it without making this stream painstakingly long. There's no chance of me swapping the leads on those motors. I apologize for that. I know at the beginning I said we were going to do that, but it's just not happening. And then I'd said we probably wouldn't fly the 65s, and boy, oh boy, was I right. But I think we can. I think I can at least squeeze this in. she said. Demo FPV says, what's up? AJ Farah says, chuck that in the trash, LOL, fat and select me. Hold up, what tool? That red-handed prop tool. This is the Tiny Whoop prop popper. Go on their website, and there's a button for notify me when this is back in stock. Put your email address in there, and then just pray that you are staring at your email when it comes back in stock, because otherwise it's going to sell out again. This is like the most indispensable Tiny Whoop tool of all time. But the guy that makes them for Jesse does not make many of them at a time. So they come in stock and they're sold out within like an hour or two. All right, yeah, these 802s have no business being on this frame though. These are absolutely these are the absolute wrong motor for this. So I do not feel bad taking these off immediately. Wow, I am so disappointed right now. I was weirdly sure that this was it. That this was going to be the combo, and this was going to be the missing link for this Walksnail 75 freestyle build. So far, I am way more impressed with the 65mm freestyle build, even if I was going to fly outside. Even for jungle gym bashing, I would much rather take that 65mm build rather than any configuration I've had this 75 build in. But I do have a couple more things to test. I'm not gonna have time to test it tonight, but there is gonna be some testing of 802 30,000s and 603 30,000s on the Meteor 75 Air frame. So it's becoming more and more obvious that weight is what's killing this. And go figure, right? Like, how many times have I said that about Tiny Whoops over the last 2 years that we've been going really hard on these? And so, yeah, the emphasis really needs to be on shaving weight, I think. Which is tough to do when you're dragging around an extra 6 grams of VTX and camera versus the analog setups. So from the get-go, I kind of realized that this is going to be tough. I didn't quite think it was going to be this tough. I thought I'd be able to find the right combo a lot quicker than what we've been the amount of time that we've been screwing around with this. But, you know, got to do it. Got to test it. Got to just keep going and keep experimenting and keep trying different frames and props and motors. And this is the way, as our little green friend says. Brad Mondin says, stop telling everyone so that I can get one. Dude, I would like to get an extra one, and I haven't been able to. If I can get an extra one, I'm going to have the mother of all giveaways. It's going to be the most popular giveaway of all time on this channel. And I've given away like full 5-inch builds before. All right, so this will be really interesting. I am going to put I really need to get a set of the 45mm tri-blades now. I think that these 1002s with the bi-blades are going to be like just barely acceptable. But I really think that these 1002s with the tri-blade 45s, I think that's going to be the jam. But we'll see. Oh man, I'm dying to know what the deal is here. So what? Here's the sort of myth busting that's about to go on. 802, 27,000 kV. Is 27,000 kV too much for these 45 millimeter biblades? That's a big question mark. Is 802 too small of a stator for these big ass 45 millimeter propellers and the all up weight that this thing is, right? Like this thing is heavy now. And a lightweight motor, the danger of a heavyweight rig on a lightweight motor is that even when you're cruising around, that motor is going to be too hot. And the magnets are going to be a lot less effective when they're hot, and you lose efficiency, power, everything. And so these 1002s are going to answer both of those questions, because the response time is really going to tell the biggest tale. The response time was abysmal on that other setup. And the bulk of the response time is how much torque, how much power the motor can produce. The KV helps with that, but it doesn't help nearly as much as the stator size, the physical size of the stator. So this is going to be really interesting. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be better, to be honest. Even though the KV is kind of low for a biblade, I think that it's such a big biblade that we'll kind of get away with it. But I think the big thing that's going to improve here is going to be the response time. But just because these motors are so big and beefy, I think that they're going to be able to speed up and slow this propeller down much better than these wee little 802s. Kind of makes sense too, right? Like you think about 1.2 inch props, we've kind of settled on 702s, and some people actually like 802s. How the hell would you go from 1.2 inches all the way up to like 1.8 and still expect an 802 to get the job done? I thought maybe because it was a biblade it would be okay, but I mean, that's pretty wishful thinking there. So this actually makes an awful lot of sense. I was hoping, you know, my hopes and dreams were there, but Metal Sturtson says, if you want a prop popper, step one, forget it. What do we do? Light blue or coral pink? It's got to be light blue. We're going light blue. All right, props out. And props out. All right, we're almost there. We got to go into Betaflight and get these spin in the right direction, but that'll only take a second. This battery's done. I am going to throw it back on the charger, though. Ooh, this I do have a battery that is fully charged. This is great. In fairness, the battery that I put through that rig a minute ago was not fully charged. It was charged, I would say 90 to 95% of the way, but it was not fully charged. But it felt so bad that, like, yeah, that was not the issue. And I don't want to have a rig that is like it only flies good for the first 20 seconds of the battery life when it's absolutely fully charged, right? Testing a battery that's only 80% charged is kind of a good thing, because it's going to let you know if through the course of the battery, the bulk of the battery, if it's going to fly half decent. Don't go full throttle. Yes. Motor 1. Backwards. Motor 2. Correct. Motor 3. Correct. Motor 4. Backwards. Yeah, these Flywoo motors don't have clockwise and counterclockwise. They're all just wired exactly the same. All right, yo, let's see. This ought to be interesting. Let's throw these goggles on. Get them fired up early. And get this battery into this big fat rig. Jesus. 3.5 grams heavier than the regular 75 millimeter frame. That's insane. That is just silly. What the hell, man?
Welcome to
Good God. All right, let's see. Myth busting commence. Commence? Is that it? Myth busting engage. There we go. Way better. Wow, yeah, okay. So, way better. Still not great, though. But so much better than the 802s. Ah, shitters. So, on the next live stream, we're going to be testing 1002s on the big heavy Pro frame versus 802s and 603s on the lighter weight Meteor 75 air frames. Okay, so this is what these 1002 motors are for. Oh boy. Very obviously, this is what the 1002s are for. They're for the 45mm props. Ah! I forced it. This ain't bad. It's heavy. For sure it's heavy. But it's got the response time and the power to back it up. I really wonder what these motors will be like on the 45. Oh, shit. See, right there, my friends. That is the problem with these. That is one of the many problems with these really heavy rigs inside the house. That just knocked over. I have hit that bottle with the 65mm rigs so much harder than I just hit it with this, and I've never knocked the bottle over. Like, yeah. These big giant rigs in the house are sketchy. If you care about your personal belongings. If you don't, then, you know, whatever. But I do. I don't want my things to be broken. Alright. Let's fly the rest of this battery. What's the runtime looking like? Minute and 27 so far? Oh god. Oh boy, it's coming for me. Just noticed there's a big spot on the lens. See it there? On the left? Hopefully that's on the outside. Oh, the runtime sucks. The runtime sucks because this thing is so heavy. Oh boy, that's... Well, what I could do, though, is go to a 550 mAh battery and make it even heavier. Yeah, that's the answer. Let's just keep adding weight. Great idea. Let me see if that spot is on the outside of the lens or on the inside. And then, you know, continuing to make this thing heavier and heavier and heavier, it's going to crash worse and worse and worse. Wait, that spot might actually be in my goggles. Nope, it's gone. We good. It was on the outside of the lens. Oh man, that runtime is brutal. That's another thing that we'll test between this big-ass frame and the smaller ones. Okay, so 802s, unequivocally, too small for the 45mm propellers if you want good flight performance. If you just want the lightest possible thing and the way that it performs be damned, go right ahead. But I certainly don't want that. So, cool. You know what? This, if nothing else, this absolutely cements what the home is for 1002s. If you've got a set of 1002s, 45mm props or bigger, you could probably run them on 2-inch props and 2-inch biblades, and I bet you they'd be okay. It has always kind of felt like 1002s were way too big for 1.6-inch props. and this really, really, really confirms that. This would be pretty interesting outside, actually. I would want more KV, though. I can kind of tell that there's a little bit more performance on the table that KV would help with, right? KV doesn't add any weight. So in a way, it's like free additional performance. Okay. Super, super, super interesting stuff here. I'm going to do... It's only 12 after. I'm going to do something. I can do this really quick. I can pop this out of this frame, and one of those batteries is fully charged. All right, hold on. Hold on. I can pull 4 screws, 4 motor plugs, throw it into Betaflight. I'm super, super, super curious the weight difference and the performance difference between this right now, and I have this Meteor 75 airframe ready to go on 603s, 30,000 kVs with the 1.6-inch bi-blades, and I'm just dying to know what that's like, and I should be able to knock this out in like less than 5 minutes. So let's do this fast. Teddy's upstairs just going ham. His broken claw, he finally ripped his broken claw out, and now all of a sudden he's like making up for a week of inactivity and just going completely bananas. Sorry, I'm kind of ignoring the chat a little bit. I'm just I'm making some progress here. I feel like I haven't made much progress on getting this Walksnail 75 thing figured out. I feel like I've been kind of just stuck for a little bit here, and I've made a shitload of... I've just learned a lot tonight. So first thing I'm going to do is give you a weight difference. Watch this. Meteor 75 Pro frame, 1002s, 45 millimeter bi-blades. 19.6 grams for just the frame, motors, and props. Good Lord. 19.6. Meteor 75 Air 0603 1610 bi-blades. Oh my God. 13.3. Wow. 13.3 versus 19.6. 6.3 gram difference. Yeah, hold on. We're putting this on real quick. I think 30,000 kV might be a bit much, but I can just motor limit it down. Wow, that's such a huge weight difference. Jeez. I have a funny feeling that these 603s might not be quite big enough of a heat sink, and I think the problem with this setup here is going to be that the motors are going to kind of overheat. My hunch is that 802 30,000s or I kind of have a funny feeling that we might end up going full circle right back to the 802 27,000s. But I would love it if this outperformed those. I would love it if these GemFan 1610, so look, the 1.2, the 1210 1.2 inch bi-blades work really well all the way up to 36,000 kV. So why the hell wouldn't the 1.6 inch bi-blades work well up to 30,000 kV, right? Maybe we're running into the limitations of 1S. That could totally be it. I don't think that's it, because when that's the case, the batteries are burning hot when you take them off the rig. And that's not been happening. So I think 1S still has a little bit more performance to give here. We just need to find the perfect combination of motor and prop and all up weight. And, Walksnail is still fairly new. Nobody's really that I've seen has really dove super deep down this rabbit hole. There we go. Bolt it up. And let's get these motors plugged in. We'll get into Betaflight and we'll get this up in the air super quick like. Or not, because these motor leads are too short. Are you kidding me? Shit. Let me uncoil the plugs a little bit. Damn it. These 063s are more of like a 65 millimeter motor to motor option. We're fine. We're fine. I uncoiled the motor wires a little bit, and that made them just long enough. I think. I still don't have it plugged in, but I think that's because I've fat fumbly fingers at the moment. Come on, god damn it, get in there. When the motor wires are ever so slightly too short, it makes plugging the motors in extremely difficult. If they're actually too short, it makes plugging them in impossible. Oh boy, wow. Yeah, okay. I would not want to leave this together like this for a long period of time because it would rip these motor wires out of the off the motor, but just for testing purposes, we're going to be all right. I'm going to try to not crash this thing super hard. Hopefully all of these motor wire lengths are the same that first one was, because that first one is, oh wow, yeah. they're like stretched, they're almost taut between the motor and the plug. That is not okay. But just to check the performance, hopefully I won't crash it too bad in this one battery that we're going to fly here. Jesus, it makes plugging these things in so difficult. All right, last one. June Loco just swapped 8 motors. Thanks for streaming. You're certainly welcome, brother. Cole Powers says, I have spots like that on my Walksnail lens. Yours is still there behind the OSD. Is it really? God damn it. Hasn't been like that. How did that happen? I'm assuming it's a piece of dust on the sensor that was in there floating around and then just got knocked loose or something. There we go. This is the not charged anymore battery. This is the fully charged battery. Wait, no, I gotta get into the Betaflight first, get the motor spinning right. Alright, this is gonna be the last thing we do, friends. Demo FPV says Jeff Grabowski has his own prop hopper he's coming out with. Very, very cool. Love that. And here we go. We're gonna go motors and motor direction. This. Hopefully don't go full throttle. Okay, good. Motor 1 is wrong. Motor 2 is wrong. They're all gonna be wrong. Motor 3 is wrong. Motor 4 is wrong. All right. So twice tonight, I've plugged motors in with the no dot on the connector for motors 1 and 4, and it was wrong. So apparently dots on motors 1 and 4 is more commonly right than wrong. Yikes. Here we go. Shit, nothing's on. And I unplugged the goggles. What the hell?
Welcome to OpenTX.
I just have to know. I have to know. I have to know. I have to know. There's a chance that these 0603s are actually 0703s. I don't think that's true, but the outside of the motor bell, which is not the stator measurement, but the outside of the motor bell on these 603s is the exact same dimensions as the outside of the motor bell on 702s, which is very weird. This is the best it's been. Because it's lighter. Can you guys see the difference? Can you guys see how much better this is? Whoops, that's my bad. You can see how much more dialed this is, right? So now the question becomes, is it the KV? And I can answer that right now. Oh, come on. Give me the goddamn OSD. Please, come on. Give me the OSD. There we go. Profile, miscellaneous PP, and we are going to turn down the motor output limit. We're going to go down to 85%. What is 85% of 30,000? That is the KV that we are now flying at. Nope, it needs the KV. I'll be damned. Oh, it needs the KV. What a difference. Yeah, I think 30,000 KV might be okay. Kind of cool. Go back up. Shit. There we go. Save and exit. Oh my god, yeah. It's still nowhere near as good. Oh wow, what is with the runtime? That runtime is a problem. The problem is that the problem is potentially that the motors are really hot, and that's making the magnets not work as well. Let me see if I can feel the motors being hot. Oh yeah, wow. This is the first time I've ever felt any heat in a Tiny Whoop motor. Frank Nicholas says 25,500. Thank you, dude. Wow. There is some actual motor heat. Okay, so... Oh, next live stream is going to be super interesting, guys. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to leave this together as it is. Next live stream. Oh man, we covered so much ground here. We're so much closer. Next live stream is going to be 603 30,000s versus 802 30,000s versus 802 27,000s. I wish I hadn't motor limited down so far. I wish I'd only motor limited it to 90%. But there was a huge difference between with and without the motor limiting. There's a chance that if I'd limited it... No, well, I mean, yeah. We have the 27,000s, so we're not going to go to like 28,000. We're not going to go to 29,000. We're going to go to fucking 30,000. So, yeah. Ooh, buddy. We are close. That right there is the best that this has ever flown. Probably because it's the lightest it's ever been. But it's not that much lighter than it was on these motors. And we're going to get to the bottom of that next time, for sure. Ooh. Cool. Finally, some progress with this thing. This is the first time that it's flown better than it has, like, when we first got it done. Because the initial setup, I guessed, was the 802 27,000s on the biblades. This is better because these motors are lighter. And these motors, and they're higher KV, these might actually make more power than the 802s because of the 3mm tall stator. The height of the stator does more work than the width of the stator. So a 603 or maybe even 703 versus an 802, even though if you do the calculations, the volume of the stator is less on a 603 than it is on an 802. I will say this, though. If these are actually 703s, then the stator volume of a 703 is definitely more than 802, right? So, but, yeah. A 603 has the potential to make more power than an 802 because of the stator height. The stator height is where all the work gets done. The windings are what pull the magnet, sort of, not really, but kind of. And so when you make a stator taller, the extra height pulls does more work to pull the magnets. Making the stator wider, think of it like this, making the stator wider, all that really does is add mechanical torque, right? Longer lever. And that helps, but it doesn't help as much as making the stator taller. The problem with making the stator taller, and we saw this with the runtime, is that a taller stator is going to use more electricity. So a taller stator is going to hit the battery harder than a wider stator. The mechanical advantage of a wider stator is kind of free. It's kind of a free mechanical advantage there. So you'll get better runtimes. This is why I like 2306s versus 2207s. 2207s melt my batteries. 2306s don't. And 2306s have enough power. Nowhere near as much, that's a little extreme, but not as much power as a 2207, but enough power for a lightweight rig. Really cool to see all this shit from 5-inch world play out on Tiny Whoops. Why wouldn't it? But yeah. Demo FPV says there's another version made by another guy. That version will have a spring on the pusher part. Talking about the prop popper. Metalurton says we got that. Brad Munden says, what's the deal actually? Does Jesse not order a lot? Does he know hundreds of us want one? Will he let Ken Summer print a bunch? The deal is that the guy that makes them makes as many as he can. I'm gonna assume something here, but I bet you this is true. The guy that makes them has a job, and the job is not making prop poppers. So he comes home from his job and makes as many of these silly little things as he possibly can, and then thousands of us flock to the fucking things because it's the most valuable tool ever made for Tiny Whoops, and they just disappear instantly. Jesse has an open order with this guy. Make as many as you possibly can. I will buy every single one of them that you can possibly make. So it has nothing to do with Jesse, and you can't be mad at the guy that's making them either, because making prop poppers is not going to net him enough money to be his career, nor would he want to sit for 8 hours a day making the damn things, I'm sure. So yeah, nobody's at fault. It's just too good of a product. Right? So, Kevin Summer says, hello, happy and surprised that CiottiFPV is going long. That's what she said. Cole Power says, we got that. June Loco said, we got that. Frank Nicholas says, do dot or no dot on a specific motor is going to depend on how the ESC motor direction is set. That is true. I typically don't change my the directionality on the ESC, but I should start looking. I should start checking and making sure that my ESCs are set normal for the rotation, because there is a chance that some of these rigs I have changed that rotation, and that could totally be a reason that. Matter of fact, I actually kind of want to check this rig right now. Because in actuality, on this rig, the red dot needs to be where motor 1 is. So if in ESC configurator, this is set up with normal rotation, what that means is that, yeah, the red dot should be where motor 1 is if your ESC has the regular rotation. Read settings. Reversed, 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 reversed. Interesting. So I don't know. Did this AIO come like this? I'm gonna go to normal. And then right settings, and I'm gonna go into Betaflight and reverse it in there. Connect. Motor. Actually, I won't need to reverse it. I'll just be able to go motor direction. I understand the risks. Wizard, start and spin. What? The hell? Oh, that was weird. What the fuck? They're still wrong. What? Did ESC configurator not save? What the fuck? No, it's saved. I had to reverse them a minute ago, right? This is about the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. When you fire up that motor rotation wizard, it does not it defaults every time. Do I need to pull power maybe? Maybe I need to reset this thing? This is strange. The motor direction wizard was acting really weird a second ago, though, so maybe that was the problem. All right. Yeah, there we go. There we go. No, that's wrong again. What the hell? This is weird, man. I'm completely befuddled at that. Oh boy, is that weird. That is very, very weird. Whatever. I don't have time to dig into that. Thanks for hanging, friends. Hope you enjoyed. We didn't get quite everything that I wanted to get done, but I knew that was going to happen. So, yeah, to be continued on Friday. Before the end of the week, we should have this thing dialed in better than it ever has been before, or at least we'll know what we need. I have a funny feeling that what we need is an 0802 1.5mm shaft with 30,000 kV motors. At 30,000 kV, I should say. So that's pretty cool. Click all the YouTube buttons. Go over to CiottiFPV.com and support me. I need your help. I love you. Demo FPV says, awesome stream tonight. See you Friday. Brad Mountain says, DM'd in Discord about the camera. Sounds good. Gray Hat says, I had to leave the stream earlier before I saw your answer. Do you have a single specific video about that? Rewind. I gave you an answer. Cole Powers says, time to set up bidirectional D-shot for indoor 3D tiny whoop. I keep thinking about it, but I don't know. Frank Nicholas says, and how the flight controller was set for a previous set of motors. That's actually not right. Every time you go into that wizard, it forgets what you've done previously. So every time you hit start spin motors on the wizard, it does the same. It defaults to whatever the regular rotation is. Cole Power says, as if you need more ways to burn MAH. Kevin Sumner's dropping the CiottiFPV. Thanks, friends. Here comes the rest of the Patreon-only extended 4K Florida edit. If you want to watch this whole thing, it's like 7 or 8 minutes long. There's some really cool stuff before and after color correction, with and without, horizon leveling, all kinds of neat stuff. Hop onto my Patreon for as little as 10 cents a day or 7.5 cents per hour of live streaming that I do a month over at CiottiFPV.com. Click the Patreon button, join up. If you want to get on some giveaways, it's a really good time. We're doing 4 gigantic giveaways next Monday. The $5 and up tiers will be entered into those giveaways. So it's a great time to jump from $3 to $5 or $10. If you're already a patron or if you're joining, cool time to jump in on the $5 a month tier. Thank you. Be good. I love you. Do something good for your mental health today. You got a couple more hours. Cool. Later, friends. Hold on. I got to find music for this. Nothing. What's happening? What the hell? Oh, right. Got it. User error. It should work. Later, friends. Love you. Bye. I need to change the monitor that this goes on. Hold on. I'm gonna change this right now. Actually, I'm gonna have to change it on the fly. It's gonna be an ugly outro, but it'll be fine. We'll survive. Love you. Bye.
There's something in the air.